Let's turn to business news now with Giles Beckford, our business editor, who is joining us from Wellington. Thanks, Giles. Fascinating that the government wants basically to force KiwiSaver providers to disclose all the information about the fees they charge.
Good afternoon to you, John. Yes, this comes from a discussion document that's just been circulated today. It's open for a month for public submissions. You'll find it on the Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment website if you're interested. It's proposing that KiwiSaver providers should tell investors how much they've been charged a year to run their KiwiSaver account. It's also suggesting the fund managers tell their clients how much they save in any particular year and what their nest egg will be worth when they reach 65. Now, you would think this is pretty basic information, but it's not provided by most of the KiwiSaver providers, or the big ones at least, who are around at the moment. Only 3 of the 8 default providers give that sort of information. So the suggestion is that people will be able to make better and informed decisions. They'll understand more clearly what they're saving, how much they need to save, and whether in fact they're being charged too much. There is one survey that's been done that shows that the most expensive KiwiSaver provider had fees that were 8 times those of the cheapest for roughly the same sort of product. So it will lead investors to be able to ask, am I getting value for money? And also they'll be able to ask their KiwiSaver provider, what are you doing to earn those fees?
Yeah. All of this has been much discussed lately, but it will be fascinating to see all of it laid out in black and white. How does this chime with information on KiwiSaver trends in the Financial Markets Authority's annual report, which you have read, Giles?
From cover to cover, every clause and paragraph, I can tell you word by word. It shows, the interesting fact for me is that there were 145,000 new entrants to KiwiSaver, new KiwiSavers last year, but 175,000 people changed their KiwiSaver provider. So that means that businesses now need to go chase custom because the level of new business is slowing down, it's drying up. And where else do you get growth if you're a KiwiSaver manager, but go pinch it off the opposition?
Yeah.
And so what the FMA wants is that the KiwiSaver providers should be educating their customers, raising their level of financial literacy so they can make informed decisions about what they're invested in, who they're invested with, and they're starting to put the asset on the KiwiSaver providers to do that. So a little bit more pressure on the savings industry, and perhaps it tilts it more towards the consumers rather than to the suits who have been earning some pretty big money. Apparently $160 million worth of fees have been billed but not really accounted for with KiwiSaver providers over the past few years. And
160 million in fees.
Yeah, and that's a staggering amount of money.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, nice work if you can get it.
So there's a shake-up coming anyway for the KiwiSaver industry, and that's to be welcomed, I would think.
Yeah. What happened on the markets, Giles?
They're weaker. The big issue that's driving really is that the US talk of the US rate rise is now gaining some prominence. A member of the Federal Reserve was quite vocal, saying he would have voted to raise rates the other week. So a December hike by the Fed looks more likely, and that's just weighing on the markets. 72 US cents for the Kiwi at the moment. That's nearly 2-month low, 94.2 Australian. And on the share market, the top 50 index down 1.1%. That's 81 points at 72.71.
Giles Beckford, our business editor from Wellington. Thanks, Giles.